Welcome to Simply Caroline, a podcast dedicated to women empowerment where we will discuss a bunch of different subjects such as life, parenting, love, business, money, relationships, healing, recovery, addiction, entrepreneurship, and so much more. A podcast I'll do my best to keep simple, fun, and relatable and bring you tools to help you better your life. So thank you for being here. And here's your host, myself, Caroline Blanchard. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being with us again today. And yes, today I have such a powerful, amazing woman for our Powerful Women series, Sheila Greene. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Caroline.
I'm super happy you're here. So I need to be a bit cheesy here and tell the story. I started in network marketing 11 or 12 years ago. I think it was 11. And I started with a company where Sheila was already at the top of the company. And she would come. So you're in New York, right? Or you were in New York?
I was.
In New York. And she would come all the way to Montreal to train us and give us, insightful advice and all of this. And I was absolutely starstruck. I would just say hi from the back of the room. And I was just like, when I grow up, I want to be like her. And then I switched companies at some point and I lost touch. And then just reapproached her not too long ago to be a part of this book, 22 Powerful Women in Network Marketing reveal their key to success. And I was just like, Sheila Greene has to be in this book. So the first meeting, it was hard because I was still starstruck. Now I'm not as much because, she's just as simple as us, but I'm so happy that you're a part of this book. And let's start with, why did you say yes to the book?
Well, first, I just want to say thanks so much for, the introduction, but also for calling me up and just even presenting it to me. And I feel like it definitely was something that was kind of unexpected. So it was unexpected for me. And that's why I said yes. I like to do unexpected things when things come into my area, they come into my life. I look at them obviously very carefully, but I like things that are different. And this was something that wasn't kind of on my personal radar, but it must have been something about that I had put out there, or something that I had like a vision about. And so when you did come in, I thought I liked the concept. I liked, learning from other people. And so I just really appreciated the opportunity.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And I'm sure that what you did put out there is that you love helping people. And that book is actually it's a way of helping people and really teaching, because, you share your best key to success in there. And I mean, you've been a top leader for, I want to say decades, but I will say at least a decade that I know. Yeah. But tell us a little bit your journey in network marketing.
Well, again, I would say it was definitely something that was unexpected. So I think for my generation, at least, and, for others, sometimes we are presented with an opportunity in network marketing, and immediately we may be like me, where I was like, oh no, that's not an industry for me, and I can't sell anything. And so, but even though I said that, even having said that, there was this part of me that was like, well, isn't that interesting? Like, why would somebody present that to me? Why would they think that I would even be interested in it? And what is it? So what's really interesting is the fact that I said no in a very uneducated way. I had my own ideas and my own thoughts about what I thought it was, and that's what I was saying no to. So it's interesting. I feel like that happens a lot. I feel like, and you have to be the person who kind of goes to the other side and says, is this person saying no because they understand completely what I've offered them? Or is this person saying no because they don't know? And that was me. So I said no for actually 9 times for like about a year. So for about a year, I was just like, no, I don't think it's for me. But along the way, I was being educated. I was being educated and I was learning more about it. And my no's got, I think, a little bit less definitive over the time. It kind of got watered down. And then I realized, I don't know, maybe a yes would be okay. So I went ahead and after I kind of heard the information, learned about it, and realized what a genius marketing model the entire industry is that I was not aware of, I decided to say yes. And what I loved was that part of my journey, and I'm so passionate about, is following a blueprint. I know this is going to sound weird, but I like for people to tell me what to do because I have the choice. I can either say yes or no to do it. I like having a blueprint, and our industry has that. So that's kind of, my journey into it. And then I just followed the blueprint and was able to get success doing it.
Yes, and I like that you say you're following the blueprint because there are rebels like me who think they're a rebel and are like, I'm not going to follow a system. But, and I used to qualify that as rebel. Now I qualify it as, I don't know, ignorance. Because when someone who went to the top or succeeded or did what you want to do and are where you want to be, why not follow their advice? Why try to do it your way? And it took me a bit to get it. But like for me, once I started following the blueprint, that's when my business started exploding. Because before that, it was working, but it worked to a certain extent.
Plus, you probably worked maybe a little bit harder than you had to.
Yeah, most likely. But I like, and it's funny how you say it's going to sound weird because I like following blueprint. And when you said that, it just resonated in my head. Like, why does it sound weird? Because we're told that rules are meant to be broken. So we're kind of like, it's always told us like, don't be, I don't know, don't always follow all the rules.
That's it. Well, and it's sexy. Like you just called yourself, you were kind of a rebel. It's sexy to be a rebel. It's not sexy. It's not sexy to follow out what they tell you. Most people like to stand up and say, I did what they told me not to do. Like I didn't listen to them. I did it on my, like that Frank Sinatra, I did it my way. Like
Yeah.
that's a sexy thing that we like to. So that's why I kind of said that. But for me, well, I like to have the choice. So tell me what it is. If I feel like, okay, if I follow it and I can get it done, okay, great. If I don't, then I don't.
No, and that's the part that I like that you said. Is that it's not because you have a blueprint that you're a follower or whatever, all the negative stuff that is attached to that. It's that you have the choice. You have a real choice. So thank you for saying it this way because you've put a different perspective in my mind. But what were you doing before? Because you were really not in the business lane.
Well, I was previously in the business lane originally, but I definitely wasn't in sales. So I worked corporately, doing exactly what they told you to do. Got my degree, got my education, got a really good job. But then I realized that my life was the job. Got married, had a kid, and was like, okay, this doesn't work. I don't have any time for, the little person. So then I said, okay, where would I get enough time? Where would I get more time in my life? So I said, oh, I know, I'll go be a teacher. Okay, so the funny thing is I always say I had a corporate career where I was like paid well, but had no time. Then I became a teacher where I was paid nothing and had time. So I had no time to spend my money in my first career, and I had no money to spend with my time in my second career. So that's kind of when Arbonne found me, which is probably why I had wrapped my mind around systems at that point. Because I realized in teaching and in corporate, but in teaching, systems work. They work to keep people on task. They work to keep the kids in a row. Systems work. So it's probably why I was able to embrace it a little bit more.
Yes, and you did something quite, I remember actually being a little jealous. Like when I met you in a meeting room, your husband was there and you did a part of the presentation. And I was just like, how in heaven did she do that? Because my husband was like, I came home all excited, and within, I don't know, 22 seconds, it was just like, this is a scam. You're not going to do it. And that was the end of it. We never talked about it for the next 10 years. A lot of husbands, well, I'm not going to say a lot because I don't have the numbers, but from what I hear, they're not always supportive. So how did you do that?
Well, okay, so I think this is twofold. I think one, it's the relationship that you're in.
Mhm.
So, the relationship that we chose, something was going to come along that that person wasn't going to like, and it was going to rear its head at some point. So I think that's the first thing, is that the person that I chose to partner with in my life was a true partner. We truly partnered in all the things that we did, finances, investments, that kind of thing. We definitely both had the spirit of there's more in life. There's more, there's entrepreneurial. So we definitely had that. Now, I always feel like there's two people in every single relationship. And if you look at every single relationship, I feel like these two people exist. There's somebody who maybe is a little bit more risky, can go out and do a little bit more and expose themselves, be a little bit vulnerable. Then there's the other person who I feel like maybe is more analytical, or who's kind of more of the processes person or whatever. So I feel like those people really do exist in every single relationship. And so when I did, the dreamer, the big vision caster piece of me, when it brought it to him, what our life could look like if we did this kind of scary, weird, out of the box thing, he kind of took it and said, he put the numbers to it and was like, okay, let's just see what this could do. So then that excited him. And then I basically said, you can bring a lot of legitimacy. I get excited. I live my life like this. He lives his life like this. So between the two of us, I find that we can, capture each personality in the room. And even though he's nervous, he doesn't like to speak in public. He doesn't like any of that. He was super excited for what it would bring to other people. And so he was happy to share. So I kind of got him on board, just letting him talking to him about, how important it would be for other people to see that you don't have to have a big personality like me.
That's awesome. So for relationship advice, you can contact Sheila. No, but it's, I would say you're blessed, but it's also like you said, and I think you said it so well, it's the way you put your foundation to your relationship. And, we talk about business here, but I will hear couples talking about how they raise kids, how they do this. Like there's so many different subjects you can have discord on when you're a couple, because you join everything together. So we'll call you for relationship advice.
But and something just popped into my head, and I kind of want to address it because your viewers might have heard this, but oftentimes you hear people say, how you do anything is how you do everything. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I agree that there's a foundational piece to that. But I feel like, like you just said, we have pockets of places where we have maybe more success than others. For the most part, yes, I feel like it transfers over. One of the things that I feel like network marketing, our industry, really impresses upon people is personal development. Mm-hmm. And that will resonate in every aspect of your life: parenting, being a daughter, being a sister, being a spouse, at your job. So I definitely do think that does. But I feel like let's not get caught up too much in judging ourselves in every single aspect, because there might be things where, okay, I had a bad parenting moment, and then we just have to let it go. Or, okay, I had a bad spouse moment, so I think we can't put too much pressure on every single aspect. We can just try to be the best version of ourselves.
Yes. And, that will bring me to my next question, because you're absolutely right. Whether it be in network marketing or whatever, in life in general, you need to always try to be the best version of yourself. And I've heard people that are not in network marketing hearing me speak and saying like, oh, it's so annoying. You talking about you will better yourself. Like you can't accept yourself the way you are. And I said, I totally accept myself the way I am, but I'm not perfect and I will never be. So it does mean that I can always better myself. It doesn't mean that I want to necessarily, get there tomorrow morning. But when you work towards that every single day, there's first of all, it's more positive, it's happier. There's more chances that you're walking towards your dreams instead of like
Yeah.
turning your back. But okay, I sidetrack here. I wanted to talk about vision, which kind of goes hand a
Hmm.
bit, but you are very, very strong on vision. So I'll let you talk about vision.
Well, I actually I think it does go exactly with what you were talking about because there is no such thing in life as stagnation. Like we think that there is, but there's really not because you're either going one direction or the other. So you're either going in the direction of dying or you're going in the direction of living. So like stagnation doesn't actually exist. And so if somebody said that to me about, like, oh, I hate that. That's so annoying, best version of yourself. That's just a life principle. Like you can't just stay where you are. So you're either regressing or you're going forward. So of course I feel like we want to always be experiencing new things, doing new things, growing, going into that next direction. And part of that, I think it kind of goes hand in hand. So the question would be, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Which came first, the vision or the personal development? I think they come together. So I think that when we work on ourselves, it expands our opportunity for what more is available or what is out there. I feel like people who don't have vision, or the person who said that to you, oh, I'm so tired. That's so annoying when people say that. I feel like that person, somebody said something to them years ago and they took it on as their own and then they've just lived their life like that. I also feel like it's a person who wishes that they had more in life and they don't. And so it annoys them to see successful people or to see somebody changing and becoming something different, a different version of themselves. I don't ever feel like we completely do, a complete reversal. I don't feel like we do a complete reversal. I think we're like onions and we just peel away one little piece at a time. And then we're like, oh, look at those new pieces. And then we peel away another piece at a time. And so I feel like it's always just getting better like that. Um, so I feel like vision comes from that personal development piece of it, like learning more, reading more, hearing more, exposing yourself to more. And the reason that the word is called vision is because it really means what you see. So the vision that we have see inside of our head. We all have pictures in our head. We all have words in our head. We all have voices in our head. We're talking to ourselves all day long, right? We're looking at stuff. We close our eyes and we see stuff inside of our head. So vision isn't something to be afraid of or this weird kind of word. Vision just means what I see. So what you're seeing in your head are the pictures that you've developed for your life. So this particular person, we're going to keep using this person as an example. This person doesn't like what they see in their head, but it's the life that they've created for themselves. So you can have a negative picture or you can have a positive picture. A negative picture is what you worry about. I worry that I won't make it. I worry that I won't be successful. I worry that I'm going to fail. I worry. And then you're going to create that and that's going to be your life. I worry that I'm only going to have this job that I hate. That's what's going to happen. But if you have other pictures, you can have positive pictures in your head and we can create that too.
That's very well said. So, for someone who's not in a good place right now, how do they start casting a better vision?
So what's interesting about that is so if when I've been in a bad place, it's because I'm worrying. I'm worrying about all the things that I don't want to happen. And then all of a sudden I look and I realize I'm actually creating that. And I know it sounds absolutely insane, but you look at your life and you're like, you got this job because you saw yourself growing up, getting to university, taking a job. This is the course that you saw yourself doing. Same thing. Like some people see themselves as pet owners. Somebody sees themselves as a spouse. Some people don't see themselves as spouse. Some people see themselves as parents. Some people don't. So we all have these pictures. And so if you are where you don't want to be right now, you take out the negative pictures and put in the positive pictures, but your mind is going to see something. It's going to see something. And it could be that what you're seeing is that somebody said something negative to you yesterday, last year, 10 years ago, and it's created all these pictures in your head. So for us, we have to to create vision that is going to move us in more of a direction that we want to be. We first have to address the negative thoughts, the negative pictures, get rid of them and replace them. Now, here's the interesting thing, and this is what I think is going on in society today. Let's say you're listening to this and you say, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to create a bunch of new pictures, things that I want in my life. We are so busy. We do so much. We keep our brains going all the time. We're on social media. We're on our computers. People can always reach us. They can always call us. They can always message us. They can always get a hold of us. Our brains are so busy that if you decide to take 5 minutes to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to look for the positive pictures, all the negative pictures are going to rush in because your body, your brain is going to say, oh, thank God, we've taken 5 minutes to sit down. We never sit down. So all the things that you've pushed to the back of your head that you don't want to think about, they're all going to flood forward and they're going to rush you. And that's when you're going to have to take a moment and be like, okay, no, I don't want to hear these things. I don't want to see these things anymore. Let's get rid of them and replace them with the positive. But don't think that just because you're going to take a minute to start thinking, oh, I want to move in the right direction, I want to have that the negative thoughts aren't going to be there. They are. They're going to come in like crazy because you finally sat down and all those negative thoughts that you've had, they're going to come forward.
I like how you put that because it's absolutely true. And there's also the fact that, I always say, well, when you can't see it, borrow someone else's vision. I had to do that for a while in my life because you're like, well, I can't see myself doing this, or I can't see myself rich. You say you want to be rich. I'll be rich. I'll be rich. I'll be rich. But really, when something happens, you self-sabotage and you move away from the money just to make sure it's not going to catch you. So you do something else. And a lot of people do that, unfortunately. But when you start, like, let's say I look at you and I'm like, you know what? I want her energy and I want her passion and I want to be where she is, like in business. Well, if I start following you and listening to you and, putting these pictures in my mind, it's going to help as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely. I had to borrow somebody's belief too, because I was always going to bet on me. Like I'll bet on me because I know my work ethic. And that's the thing about network marketing is you can be successful in network marketing with work ethic alone. With just because if you are going to be the hardest working out person to work out there, you will get some success. The next level of success, you have to couple your work ethic with opening up your brain and having more thoughts and having that. And I had to borrow that. Just like you, I was going to bet on me because I knew that if like I'll follow the plan, I'll do it if you tell me that it's going to work. If you tell me that it's going to work, if I see that it worked for you, okay, fine, I'll follow the plan. But I had to borrow the belief of somebody else to go to that next level until I could believe that I could do it for myself. Now, I just said the word belief twice. I have to put a caveat in here, okay? Just as a side note. I don't like that word because it's overused. And this is what people say. If you believe, you'll achieve. The only reason that people say that is because it rhymes. I don't believe it because right smack dab in the center of the word believe is the word lie. Lie. It sits right there. So we think that's all we need. If you just believe more, do more, believe more, that's not true. And here's why, because your beliefs can change. See, I just said 2 minutes ago that I had to borrow someone's belief, right? So I had to borrow it because what I believed about myself wasn't working for me. So I borrowed somebody else's. So what I believed changed. What you believe changes. What you know never changes. So we have to get ourselves into the position of knowing that I'll be successful, knowing. And so how do you do that? So you're sitting there going like, well, how do you do that? Okay. Well, you start out with that belief, but then you move over into the space of knowing. And how you do that is by the work. I can know that I will be successful because I have things on my calendar. I have things that are scheduled. I listen every single day to things that are going to help me be more successful. I work on my skills. So that's how I know I can go from believing to knowing. So just a quick example is I used to believe that the best Christmas tree was a Douglas fir. I now buy a Fraser fir. So my belief changed. Your beliefs change, but what you know never changes. I know my parents love me. My parents hurt my feelings. They said things I didn't like. It never changed that I knew they loved me. So there's a difference. When you believe something, it's shaky and emotional. When you know something, it's very calming and you're non-emotional about it.
It's a fact.
That's just a side. I had to add that because I did say the word belief twice.
Yeah, well, I could listen to you all day because you make so much sense, and you're very what I find, and I think that that was also my first impression. You have high energy and everything, but you're also so practical, and it's just like you link everything to reality. So I can't say like, oh, she's just like super happy and energetic. No, because it's all linked to reality and practical stuff. And I really like one thing too that you put, more emphasis on is network marketing is work. And I like how you said you bet on yourself because of your work ethic, because that's something that no one but yourself can take away,
Yeah.
so it is in your power. But let's talk a bit about the work that it takes to get to the top.
So I think, it's kind of twofold. I think it takes the work that we've just been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that work is just as important as the other work. But the other work, if I'm not talking to people, if I, what I love about this industry is that everything is possible and everything is available. And I love that because we get to decide how much of it that we want. Now, having said that, that sometimes creates a situation where we're like, well, I bought my lottery ticket, so are they coming to tell me that I won the lottery? Like, where's the lottery commission? So I think sometimes we do that. We say, well, I signed up. I signed up. Like everything that I want should just happen for me. And we forget to put in what you just said. We forget to put in the practical side. The practical side says, do you really think the company will pay you if you haven't sold anything? Do you really think that that they should promote you if you haven't sold anything? So there is that aspect of it that we kind of have to bring it back down and say part of it takes us scheduling, talking to people and not, I definitely don't, we shouldn't worry about the results as long as we're in the activity. But having said that, I don't want people to be in activity. So my son played hockey and I always use this as an example. I don't want him shooting in the driveway 100 pucks that never go in. After 20, I want to be like, hey, let's just do something a little bit different and see if we can get it in. Let's increase that skill. So it's not always about doing more. If it's not working for you, don't do more of that. I tell you what, there's a tiny little tweak that probably needs to be made. And it's so small, but it's so significant. So yeah, definitely you have to think about it like, am I doing the work? Have I sold the product? Have I, do I have sales? Am I helping other people get sales? Because that's how we get paid.
Yes, and you took the example I always give. It's not a lottery ticket, because some people think like, well, I bought my starter kit, whether it be $20 or $1,000. So now I'm in,
Yeah.
but it's not an investment. That's
Where's
an
the people? Why aren't
in,
they knocking at my door?
yeah, exactly. That's an investment in you. And usually it's to get products for you to use and whatever, I don't know, because all companies are different. But point is, that's just like you bought the key to get in. The
Right.
rest you need to walk yourself and do everything. And that is a big difference between someone who will call it a scam because they're like, I've put $100 and I lost it. But again, it's not a horse race where you put $100 and you hope that your horse will win. It's really like it's whatever price it is. It's money that you invest to try the products. The rest is on you.
Yep.
And I think that that's one of the big, the bad rap that we had was coming from there. It's those people who did buy it as a lottery ticket and nothing happened.
Which is so interesting because that would never happen in any other industry.
No.
And, it's so interesting because I think people have jobs and they have a life and they don't like their life and they don't like their job. And so we offer hope to people. And so by the time people come and say yes to us, it's an emotional yes. It's not a pragmatic or practical yes. It's an emotional yes. So we get these emotional yeses. And then even as consultants, as people in the industry, we're emotional because we're so excited and so happy for them. And there's too much emotion involved here, and not just like these people get upset, like you said, and then that's what kind of, taints the view of other people. But if we're all just being realistic here, we would just say to that person, okay, so yeah, you did do that one thing. You did get that products for you to try. You did do that. But how does that translate into you making money? Do they pay you at your other job just to show up? Do you just sit there and just show up? Do they pay you at that job, just to have their products on your desk, but not to talk to anybody about it? So it's the common sense is not that common, and it's very interesting in this industry how it just flies right out the window. But again, it's because we offer so much hope to people because we have hope to offer. We absolutely 100% do, but that hope comes with a little bit of work.
Yes, and exactly. It's network marketing, not net wish marketing.
Yeah.
And that is, yeah, I remember one time I had, my luxury car, and someone told me, and it was paid by the company, well, I was getting an allowance every month because I had reached a certain level. And the person told me, yeah, but if you don't do your numbers, they're not going to pay it that month. And I'm like, so which company do you know who will offer a car company that if you don't show up at work for 3 weeks, you can keep the car?
Or you can keep getting paid or keep your job. Yeah,
because I had a job like that to incorporate, and I promise you that the day that I quit, they escorted me to a cab. They took my keys. It was done.
Exactly.
I didn't keep the car. So yes, and it's funny because you and I laugh about it right now, but it's because we've seen both sides and we understand both sides. But it's true that in this industry, I think one of the big thing is a misconception of you're going to make money fast and easy, because it's simple, but it's not easy. And simple is just like you said, you can follow your leader and do what they do, but you still have to do it. And talking about leader, you've been one for a very long time. And, some could argue that leadership comes with a position. I argue that leadership comes with a personality, because I think that you've always been a leader, no matter what rank you were at your company. But what is leadership to you?
So honestly, I feel like leader is just the person who went first. That's it. Like when you're on a path, if I'm on a hiking path and I'm following a guide, they went first. They were the person who went ahead of me. They're leading my troop, my thing, because they did it first. So I really feel like that's the first part of it, is just that I just did it and then told other people, like, come on this path. Like, this is a really good path. And I've already been on this part of it. So I can show you how to go on this part of it. And I'm going to go on this part of it. And somebody's leading me, like I'm looking forward to looking ahead to somebody. And then we're showing somebody else. So I feel like that's like the first part of being a leader. And then, then there's just so much more. I feel like that kind of is the rest of it. But it's people who just add value to the people that they're with. A leader is not entitled. I'll tell you what, they're not. They're not entitled. They're not, they don't deserve anything. You don't just show up and say, well, I have the title, I'm the leader, so I deserve A, B, C, and D. That's not how it works. So I feel like a leader is just the person who's there working with the group and adding value and wants the group to be more successful than the guide, basically the person who is going first. So there's so many aspects to it, but at the basics, I say it's just the person who went out and said, I did it, and I'd like to show you how to do it.
Well, I like that you said that, and we should talk to a few leaders together. Just tell them, like, no, tone it down. It's just because you were there first. But you're absolutely right. It's being the guide. And I think that too is a big misconception of, like, when you're going up ranks. And now I'm talking a bit more specifically network marketing. Some people going up ranks will start shifting into a management position. And I remember when, Jeff Olson said that. He said on stage, be careful, don't become a manager. And I was just like, why is he even saying that? But then you start having a team, you start having people asking you questions, you start feeling more and more like a leader. And when you have the corporate mentality, that mentality will switch into you feel more and more like a manager, because then you're like, well, did you do your work, and did you do your work? And becoming kind of like the unspoken boss, which is that's so far from what the idea of network marketing is. So were you ever in management position?
I was when I was my first job actually out of college, and which was is I feel like I learned a lot because I was super young and I was given a lot of responsibility. And I made a lot of mistakes and realized what people didn't like, how they didn't like to be treated, what they didn't like to have done to them. So I'm forever grateful for that opportunity, because I think I probably did more things the not the right way than I did than I did the right way. So yeah, so I did have that experience. But I do think though, Caroline, like I do think the conversation does translate into corporate America, because even
Mm,
though in most corporate America it is a manager, the managers are still leaders, and no one likes to be managed. I don't even care if that's how your job is created, that's how the hierarchy works. No one wants to be managed. Everyone wants to just do their job. And I mean, I'm going to say, and people might disagree with me, but everyone wants to do their job and do it well. They do. And no one likes anyone looking over them. Yes, we have to guide people and say, hey, maybe if you did this, it would work better. Or maybe if you did this. And the important thing there, I want to just point out, is we don't help anyone do anything. And that's probably where corporate America messes up, because they feel like they have to help everybody. The managers have to help their subordinates, and the subordinates have to help who's ever under them, and the CEO has to help the managers. I disagree with that. You can't help anyone do anything. I can't help anyone do anything. I can guide you, I can show you, and I can lead you in the direction of, but I can't help you do it. That choice becomes yours. And so I think that's where we kind of need to get off of and move over, is we can't help people. Managers in corporate America can't help people either. And that's probably why that corporate America really isn't succeeding.
wow, that's a strong statement, but so true. And I'm the best example. Since I'm in kindergarten, like it's written in my report cards that I have issues with authority. So, and it's not that I have issues with authority at all. It's just that I like to be spoken as, I'm going to teach you something instead of you have to do that. And funny enough, because I'm thinking, as I was listening to you, I was thinking about the millennials, and I was just like, wow, they're in for, corporate America and all of that. They're in for a huge change, because millennials do not take anymore,
Right.
those, they don't want to be told what to do. And
Yep.
we've raised them to stand up for themselves
Yep.
and be heard. So, and like now that they're all 20 and 22, I can see it in my kids. It's actually like, I find it comical sometimes, but I remember my oldest daughter is 21 now. When she went to kindergarten, she came back after the second day, I think. She's like, Mom, I'm just done with that. And I'm like, okay, that's going to be a long run. And I'm like, what's up? She's like, well, there's this lady in front of the class and she's telling us what to do, and I don't have to do what she says. And I was just like, I had to teach what a teacher is. But definitely, it's like it's a new mentality for them. Well, not new, but their mentality is very different than what we were. So,
Yes.
and that's why also I think that network marketing will just keep on growing and expanding, especially after the pandemic and now with the new personalities coming in,
Yeah.
because it is a brilliant business model.
So brilliant. And
Yeah.
I remember one time, this is what I was thinking. How did I live for 30 something years and no one told me? because I didn't know what it was until I was introduced to the company that I'm in right now. I didn't know what it was. And I literally was like, how did I live that long and no one told me about it?
Yeah. Well, I kind of knew about it, but I didn't know. I knew it from someone who didn't understand either,
I mean,
so
I
then
knew about it from a direct sales perspective. Like
yes,
I knew about it from like, oh, there's a product and you sell it. I didn't understand the whole concept of the industry and
yes.
how, how the scalability of it works. That was the thing that, yeah, so I thought I understood the direct sales part of it, which I was not interested in, but it was the network marketing piece and the ability to scale and that, which was, and I thought, why didn't someone tell me?
I know I say that sometimes. I wish I would have found it at 20. I remember having 3 jobs back then. Imagine if I would have put those efforts,
Right? Yeah.
in a company. But anyway, we can go back in time and we learn different things. But I want to ask you one of like the last question here, because we hear that a lot, and I feel like you will have such a good answer to that. So people are like, well, it all sounds very great, this industry, but I don't want to be in this industry because I can't sell and I don't want to sell.
I think that's what everybody says, and I venture to say it might have been what you said. It's 100% what I said. I said I didn't know how to sell. I certainly wasn't gonna like talk to my friends and family and try to sell them something because I couldn't get out from under the thought process of if I sell them something, they know I'm making money. So I'm basically using them to make money. And I didn't really like, how is that a good way to live? And this is what I realized, or how I kind of changed the thought process was it was actually my clients. My clients were the ones when I first started my business and I liked the product and I offered it to people. I feel like they probably bought it because they were my friends, right? And they were like, okay, Sheila, but no one likes you enough to buy something twice. They'll support you once, but they will not support you ongoing. And so I had a couple of friends who called me and said, hey, I want to order something else. And I was like, you do? Oh, okay. And so then I thought, well, they like it and and I like it. I was like, I'm getting results. I like it. So then I started to see that I had value to add and I stopped um, kind of thinking that I was selling them something because in my mind, and I still believe this, people who sell something are people who don't use it. That's what I think. So if the person who I bought like 3 cars from somebody one time, same type of car every time. This person did not drive this car, but she sold them to me. She worked at the dealership and sold them to me. So people who sell don't use what they're selling. So I felt like I started to realize I'm not selling, I'm using something and I'm recommending it. So I started to realize that I recommend things. And if somebody wants what I recommend, great. If they don't, then that's fine too.
You're not
So
attached to the result.
yeah, I mean, I think we're all passionate about what we recommend. I mean, you've seen a movie that you absolutely loved. So I saw this movie that I totally loved, and I told everybody about it. I thought it was such a great movie. And then my brother-in-law and sister-in-law watched the movie, and they were like, "That's the dumbest movie ever." And so, but I was just so passionate about recommending it to them that they decided to take a chance and go and watch it. So when we recommend stuff, we are passionate about it. But I didn't care if they liked it or not. I was okay with that. I was like, well, whatever. We liked it. You didn't. But that's just life. So I kind of changed how I thought. I was like, I'm not selling. I don't sell stuff. I recommend things.
And the thing is, like, most likely if they bought it is because they need it in one form or the other, and they would have bought it somewhere else. So someone would have made the money. Because
Yeah.
I think that you said a crucial point there, and I had the exact same feeling. Like at first, I was giving my rebate to everyone, and I was almost willing to refund from my own pocket, if they
Yeah,
didn't like it.
totally.
But then I really started detaching myself because I'm a person who recommends a lot of stuff, and I have like my sister-in-law who's a Costco girl for the last 30 years, and I swear she probably sold more membership to Costco than anyone because
Then
she's
Costco
always
sold
talking
themselves.
to the point. At some point, I was just like, "Do you have any shares in it?" Or because like, but she was just so excited and still is about how everything is fabulous there, and and I was just like, "Man, you should really look into network marketing." She's like, "Oh no, I don't like selling," and I was just like, "You sold probably 1,000 Costco memberships."
Right? Exactly.
So yes, we do recommend a lot, but for me, the big mindset shift that I had to do is I'm making money off of my friend, or I'm making money off of someone I know, because in our industry, you will end up knowing the person that you do a transaction with, even if it's on social media, as opposed to, I don't know, Walmart, when they sell you a toothbrush, there's no face attached, there's nothing attached,
Right.
there's a transaction. But everywhere where there's a transaction, there is money to be made. So,
I mean, if
support.
you had a boutique, people would support it. If
Yeah,
you had a restaurant, people would support it. So I got over that pretty quickly. And same thing with you. I realized these people are spending this money anyway.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Sheila, where can people find you?
So they can find me on Instagram at Sheila Greene, ENVP. My name actually has an E at the end of it. So it's Sheila Greene, Greene. And then it's just the letters NVP after that, but it looks like it's ENVP. But you can find me
Okay.
on Instagram. And that's probably it.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not going to ask you your address and phone number, but
Yeah.
Instagram, you will get to see a lot of Sheila as well. Everyone shares. And that's what I like too, is that you will get to know her and also know that she is a normal person, just like all of us. So, but it means that everyone can do what we're doing if
Yes.
you really have your mindset. Get the
Yes.
book, 22 Powerful Women in Network Marketing.
Definitely get that. Yes.
Success. What's your chapter?
Chapter 9, which
9.
is, yeah.
There you go,
So
which is
my
what?
chapter is chapter 9. Yep.
Was it a lucky number?
It was. Yeah. So isn't that weird? It's so weird because I know that lady said that there was another girl in the book who said that her chapter was her lucky number. And I thought it's not my lucky number, but it is a very important number it just has significance. So it's very interesting.
And I honestly did not consult any author when
No.
I gave the chapter numbers. Don't even ask me what my logic was, because I think that at first I kind of had one, and then it started to all, like, I had no logic at the end. At the end, the chapters were just, I felt you were a 9. So, but thank you so much for being here today. If you have any questions or comments, you can write to me at info@simplycaroline.com. You can also go on my website, simplycaroline.com, if you want to see. I have the Powerful Women series, so where all the authors are, all their contact information is. And you can Instagram message Sheila if you have questions. And
Yes.
otherwise, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And Sheila, what's your last thought that you want to leave people with?
Take a chance on yourself because you're worth it. And I think that it's scary. And sometimes we let fear hold us back. We live in a really fear-based kind of time in the world right now. So just let go of the fear and take a chance on you.
I love it. Thank you so much, Sheila. I appreciate you so much. And to everyone else, I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Caroline. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.